The 90s represent a reinvention for Spider-Man, ending the classic Spider-Man and the beginning of something different. McFarlane gave Spider-Man an entire new look for this new era, and I think the run of the day, Larsen run, continues this to the new decade. Larsen run is far shorter than I realized, having it about 20 issues. Larsen takes what McFarlane did and takes it further, confirms this is not just a one-off thing, but a long-term change for the character. I'm gonna have to confess something. I don't care for the 90s. Not talking about the 90s Spider-Man. I mean the entire comic book industry of the time. This is one of my least favorite decades in comics. Like, it probably is my least favorite decade. I usually skip this era, but since I'm reading all the Spider-Man main series, it wouldn't feel right to skip over it. But I want to get into 90s at least a little bit. I want to get it. So I'm going in with an open mind, and I hope that this era can change my mind on how I feel about 90s. Or maybe I'll just confirm that I really dislike this era. In Spider-Man, 90s are a decade of three things. Marriage, which I've talked about in the past, clones, which we'll get to soon, and symbiotes. Lots and lots of symbiotes. These are the Venom years, and with each passing story, Venom becomes more and more important to the Spider-Man mythos. I used to be a big fan of Venom and symbiotes. I think most kids who were born after 80s probably are. I've grown less fond of Venom in a sense over the years, over saturation, and then kind of grew a big fan of Cates' work when he brings more life back to the Venom character. But I don't know, it's one of the most exciting parts for me is revisiting these storylines. I'm kind of hoping that these stories will reinvigorate my love for the character. There's two Venom stories during Larsen's time. I want to highlight the second story because I think the second one is a really good Venom story. So, I just want to talk about it. I don't know, I like sharing things I like. But it's also a great way to introduce Larsen's work, because Venom is Larsen at his best. It's indicative of the entire era, but there really isn't much of a story here. It's a very simple setup. There's like two scenes. One, MJ and Peter talk about something. Peter goes off to a diner where Eddie Brock appears. What follows is about issue and a half of Venom chasing Spider-Man down, Spider-Man fighting back, and basically that's it. It's 2 issues of just nothing but a really long chase scene. Spider-Man punches Venom as hard as he can. Venom just gets back up and maybe cracks a joke about it. Spider-Man swings away, Venom catches up. There really isn't anything else here. It's just 2 super fun action issues. What makes it so fun is Brock himself. I love the scene in issue 346 where Peter is hanging out at a diner and Brock appears out of nowhere. The symbiote doesn't trigger Spidey sense since they bonded before, so Brock does this quite a lot. He appears usually first as Brock. He's very theatrical as he wants Spider-Man to know he's coming. Peter instantly pays for his coffee and goes out with Brock to go fight somewhere more private. It's really funny to me that Brock allows this, but it's also great how Brock immediately starts monologuing how the symbiote came back this time. I don't know. This is more of a headcanon, but I like reading Brock as being super excited to share his details of his life with the only person his psycho ass can connect with. It's really cute. I love it. I love it. He just starts monologuing like an old friend. It makes him threatening, but it's just cute. And I just like there being more to this than just pure hatred. It makes Brock more interesting and different from Goblins and Ox, who just straight up hate Spider-Man. And most importantly, Eddie gets close to Peter Parker's side of the character constantly. Green Goblin does that 3 times across the decade, and by the end, his ability to do so is undone every time. Eddie can always come back, and he does it all the time. No warnings, no way out. He's just always there, stalking, waiting. He can take any punch Spider-Man throws, holding back or not. He has Spider-Man's durability, strength, webs. Venom is a dark reflection of Spider-Man. My favorite way this shows is his sense of humor. He chases Spider-Man down, and he makes these corny jokes while he's at it, sometimes with a darker edge. It feels like mockery of Spider-Man, and combined with how close he gets, he knows who Peter is on the deepest level. It makes him feel dangerous, and he uses that sense of humor to just make fun of Spider-Man, but to also mess with him. He dresses up as a scientist when Spider-Man asks for directions. Venom sends Spider-Man the wrong way, and then he gets this weird-looking smile on his face. He's so proud of himself. It's entertaining. He finds it so entertaining. He doesn't seem fazed by danger. He can take punches, but he also acts super casual at times, which makes him come across almost extra powerful. He feels so safe that he's not even worried. He's not even taking precautions. Spider-Man has a lot of great villains, but Venom truly stands out amidst all of them. He will become oversaturated, but until then, I love this guy. There's not much to say about these 2 Venom storylines because they're basically pure action, especially the second storyline. Like, it's just like one scene with MJ and Peter then gets ambushed by Eddie Brock, and then it's just action. 2 issues, straight nothing but action. It's really fun. The most famous thing about Larsen's Venom is the jaw. McFarlane did a bit of teeth and jaw at the end, but it really is Larsen's great contribution. McFarlane's Venom feels like a man in a costume. Larsen emphasizes the monster. He makes Venom's teeth more monster-like, sticking outwards from the mouth. He has a larger jaw that gets longer every time we see him, reaching preposterous proportions by the end. And then there's finally the tongue. Venom sticks his tongue out, which is now an iconic part of the character, but wasn't really part of the character until Larsen. His Eddie half transforms into Venom when he taps into Venom's strength, and this is one of the most intimidating looking half Venoms I've seen. This is where Larsen's art shines. Wait, is that the first appearance of Cyan Venom? Huh, fancy that. It's just crazy to look back on this psycho Eddie Brock because he nowadays is so different from this. Venom has gone through a lot of changes over the years. Those changes really start coming into play as the 90s go on, but there's another character who's also gone through a lot of changes, but unlike Venom, she's stuck, unable to ever get past the first impressions. Let's talk a bit about Black Cat. Black Cat is a fascinating case of a character who is and isn't well written all at the same time. What you're getting depends entirely on the writer. Wolfman wrote her as a bit of a nutcase, but sympathetic, someone who had a good heart. Mantlo and Milgrom expand her into someone who's not completely delusional, a little, but workable. She loves the thrills and excitement of Spider-Man, but she can't stand the ordinary Peter Parker. Her romance with Spider-Man was a play on the usual love interest where the girl loves the man, but not the hero. There's some iffy writing there, but what really made her ultimately work was her development. She changed, and eventually learned to love Peter and Spider-Man both. She ultimately helped Spider-Man take down many villains, including the Foreigner, and there's that whole thing. She then leaves to find her own life away from Spider-Man, giving her this healthy separation and letting her find her own identity. My favorite panel actually from her is probably her exit. She leaves a card explaining her situation to Peter, and with the letter there's an explicit photo, and it's really funny. It's really funny and charming and there's personality to it. It leaves a strong image in your head. It's one of my favorite moments from her, and that Crazy Girl era is done, and it made me excited to see what's next for Felicia. Felicia's back, and she realized she's actually obsessed with Spider-Man again, and she wants to get back at him by dating Flash Thompson, Peter's best friend. Yeah, Felicia's character has never really moved on the way she should have. Like, I don't know what Marvel's problem is. Ultimately, it doesn't feel like a new stage for Black Cat. It's literally the same exact thing. Like, she was obsessed with Peter, and her whole life revolved around these hedonistic things, and specifically her man. They just changed who the man is, but it's the same thing. And one of the weirdest things about this repetition, there's like a moment where the reason why Felicia starts to fall for Flash is because Flash stands up for her and essentially takes care of her, and she likes that. And she says that, oh, nobody has ever done that for me. But she said the same thing about Peter, so it's like, what's going on here? Like, it's even the same reason why she falls for him. Like, it's such a weirdly repetitive thing, and it's not real development. It's just the same thing. We're in the same spot again. I hate it. It's like giving Peter another girlfriend and throwing them off of a rooftop and saying, like, hey, look, it's something new. Like, not really. Like, you just change the person that it's with. It's repetitive, and the last time we saw Felicia, she was in a new, more independent place, which should allow for more stories. Like, I would like to see a Black Cat High story or something, but no. I even like these stories well enough, like, like they're fun enough, but Felicia deserves better than the crazy ex-girlfriend trope. Like, seriously, come on, guys. Justice for my girl. It's turning out to be one of the biggest failures of the Michelini years. At least the early years. We'll see if the symbiotes will help with that repetition problem later, but so far, while art-wise it's an interesting era, I think story-wise a very uninspired era. Nostalgia is a powerful thing, which is why Marvel is obsessed with it. Michelini's run is interesting, as this era brings in a lot of classic Spider-Man villains, as in the classic ones you think of. Lizard, Green Goblin, Electro, Scorpion, Sandman. In the 80s, there seemed to be a push for new types of villains that mix up the stories. The unstoppable Juggernaut, the almost unstoppable Blob, Did Nothing Wrong Cloak and Dagger, Silvermane as a robot, Puma, Tombstone, Sin Eater, Nightmare, Beyonder, Vulturians, the Irish Republican Army. Not all were hits, but 80s felt distinct from any other decade of Spider-Man due to the push for new ideas. Not always reinventing the entire character and the entire book, but he chased someone into the suburbs where there's no buildings to swing off of, or fighting gods and demons, or fighting corporations you cannot truly punch into submission. It was a switch up. 90s stories get nostalgic for Stan Lee days, and I really am not sure how I feel about that. If you grew up in the era where you didn't have an overabundance of these villains, I could see why you'd like this. For me, kinda feels like a retread. These villains have nothing new going for them. It's just the same thing, but shinier. But time has caught up. this is no longer shiny, and I think these issues have kind of aged worse than your average Spider-Man issue. But at the same time, there's an argument that can be made. It helped keep the characters relevant and bring them back, which eventually leads to some great stories. So maybe it was a good thing. And a lot of those 80s villains, weren't always, good. Some of those villains couldn't be used beyond like one story. You can't just have Beyonder pop in or Spirit of Vengeance or Juggernaut. So, you have to return to these guys eventually. Some of these characters hadn't had a lot of time to shine, and I think there's no better showcase of that than Return of the Sinister Six. Sinister Six is a big deal now, especially adaptations really like this team up for some reason. Like, I don't really know. I guess it's just a cheap way to raise the stakes and be like, ooh, it's serious now. But Sinister Six isn't a big deal in the comics. Like, it's been 30 years since they first appeared in 1964 in Annual #1, and they got beat hard. They're a collection of losers, more busy fighting themselves over something petty than winning. I love Annual 1, it's not a disrespect to that. It's one of the best Spider-Man issues of all time, but I can't say I was left wanting more Sinister Six after that. And I'll be honest, I can't really think of Sinister Six storylines that I actually really like. They're always kind of lame, they just gotta suck. 90's brings these guys back and tries to make them more dangerous. Doc Ock is bringing them together with a more precise plan, and we get to see Gathering of the Six. This is the buff Ock, and so he's real for this time. Ock threatens Sandman to join in. He blackmails him. If he doesn't join, Ock will blow up Sandman's people. There's more tension inside the group because of this, and their differences aren't as petty. Egos definitely still clash, but Sandman has much more stronger of a reason to clash with these guys now. Doc Ock calls the cops on Mysterio. Then he belittles Mysterio, reminding me how often he fails on his own. Basically coming in and be like, you're a loser, Mysterio. Like, you can't do it on your own. You suck, bro. But don't worry, I got a way out. I am smarter than you, better than you. You can be my underling. It's fun to see Doc Ock manipulate the Sinister Six members. He comes across smart and dangerous because he's acting smarter. You understand why this group of egomaniacs come together. I don't think they showed that the first time around. I think they just literally are in the room, just already together. I really love Larsen's Hobgoblin. He looks so good. And then his demon powers fail against Doc Ock because Marvel really seems to hate Hobgoblins. Why do you do this to me? Like, Hobby calls everyone losers. Like, I get he's egotistical, but man, like, this man was supposed to be peak. Seriously, like what is, like, do people at Marvel have a beef with Roger Stern? Like, is there some backstory to this that I'm missing that I'm not aware of? Because this seems really targeted at this point. It's like, the Hobgoblin's gotta be the most wrong character in Spider-Man's history. Is there another character who gets done this dirty? Like, genuinely, like, it's like, what is going on here? Like, this is insane. Doc Ock was a joke for many years, and this era is doing a lot to try to elevate the character into something serious, and I do appreciate that. I like Doc Ock, but he really needs the help. His design has always been weak up to this point. I think Larsen has the best looking Ock, so that's nice. He tries to make up for Hobgoblin. In fact, discounting Hobgoblin, a lot of villains are played serious. Like, Scorpion does get an upgrade. He can now spit acid from his tail, but for some reason, instead of shooting acid, he just shoots lasers. Like, what is up with that? Like, what is this? It's not that it's like the storyline is kind of repeating the old, like, it's Scorpion attacking J. Jonah Jameson. Again, he did that literally in his first appearance, but now he shoots lasers. Okay, like, it's not a whole lot of reinvention. It's largely trying to stick to what once was, but also try to make it more intense. The Gathering of the Sinister Six lasts for like a few issues, like happens at the end of an issue, like Doc Ock comes in and be like, oh, wanna join my six? This climax is in issue 339, where Doc Ock's evil plan is to take over the world with satellites. Because of course it is, He double crosses the rest and they just run off instead of fighting it because I guess they haven't figured out they're allowed to attack all at the same time. It continues in the Objectiveless Spider-Man where Larsen takes over eventually in the Revenge of the Sinister Six, which is a longer and much bigger story, and then Ghost Rider appears in there, so that's kind of cool. And throughout the Sinister Six storyline, every single Sinister Six member gets this one panel page where they're fighting Spider-Man. It's an homage to the first annual where Ditko does the same thing. Even Doctor Strange makes an appearance just like in the original annual. Avengers actually appears here. I don't know, that gave me a little kicks to be like, ooh, I recognize that, so they got me. It's cool. It's cool. A thing that happens a lot in this era is that Spider-Man seems to be fighting a lot of thieves, even in the pages of Web of and Spectacular. It seems to happen a lot. I don't know if I'm crazy, but you have Sinister Six, Femme Fatale, Siren Tolan Gang, Gang Wars, Acts of Vengeance. I think there's more team-ups than before. Like, I'm not entirely sure, but it certainly feels like Marvel's throwing everyone at Spider-Man at once. He can beat all of these guys solo, so now he has to beat like multiple of them at once. Continuing with nostalgia, Powerless is an arc that's a 4-part version of Spider-Man No More. Spider-Man gets tired of being Spider-Man and gives up his powers and has to question if he can truly ever stop being Spider-Man, and if he ever should. No trash can though, thank God. I've seen this so much too many times. I appreciate an artist not going for the low-hanging fruit. It's a great story, probably my second favorite in the Larsen run behind his Venom, but I can't help but to feel a sense of deja vu here. Longer arcs and repetition makes for a bad combination, I think. If you're gonna do longer arcs, you gotta do more with that arc, and I'm not sure if the stories are up for it. It seems the team likes the idea of taking more issues to do things, but they don't really have a point with it. I find the longer arcs lead to some dull pacing. It's not bad, but I often felt like I could have cut the stories off an issue or two earlier, and I missed the revolving doors of the earlier days. So, let's talk about the arc. Let's start with a universal praise. Larsen's cover game, like, these are really good covers. Like, issue 334 cover is the cover inspiration for the 90s animated Spider-Man vs. Doc Ock poster. I didn't know that. Like, that's very cool. I always thought that was original, but no, these are some really good covers. Like, I don't really know what to say. Like, these Venom covers, but inside the book. Among Spider-Man artists, like, he's a very unique artist. It's something that when I was younger, I never really differentiated between McFarlane and Larsen and Bagley. In my mind, they were all the same thing. You know, I don't know. I didn't see a difference. Now I do. Oh my God, do I do? Like, revisiting these, it's like, oh, now I see it. Oh, this is a very different take on these characters. Larsen art, it is very powerful. Like, there is an impact. Like, Larsen likes destroying a door and then sending the shrapnel towards the screen. He does this, like, a lot, and I guess it looks cool. Spider-Man's body contours out of shape really hard. Like, the anatomy makes zero sense in here. Issue 333. Why is Venom like that? Like, this doesn't even honestly look cool. Like, I swear to God, Larsen is doing it on purpose. Like, I don't think he has a goal here. I think he's just doing it just to see what he can get away with. Because what is this? I think there's some neat storytelling. Like, this is one of my favorite pages. It's just a really fun and playful way of drawing a Spider-Man's page. Larsen gets some creative paneling in there where it's like one of the things he likes to repeat a lot is like whenever there's big action or somebody punches really hard, the panel itself kind of tilts over and like the borders get all weird and messy, and sometimes the characters come a little bit out, or an explosion or a bullet or something comes out of the panels, emphasizing the power and speed of it. It's really cool. I think it's good storytelling. Larsen also is really impressive with the detail, especially considering historically how like comic books were. Like, there are some really detailed buildings sometimes in the background. Now, that is compensated by the fact that there's a lot of panels where it's like he uses a lot of shadows to try hide the characters. I'm guessing that's just the cost of it and, you know, like kind of balance there. I think it's a very neat way of doing it. I think you don't always notice it. He uses a lot of negative space, and he uses that, so sometimes he blends into the background, and it looks cool. But it also probably, I'd imagine at least, it saves some work. You know, very neat. And sometimes it's very effective. Like, here is like Punisher looking cool, and his eyes are hidden behind shadows, so he looks more intimidating. Eyes are the windows to the soul, so he looks almost inhuman. I don't know if I'm being crazy or I just didn't notice before, but I feel like Larsen moves the Spider-Man lenses more than anybody else. Like, I think he's the first one to be this aggressive with it. Spider-Man is more expressive than ever, and I think Larsen might be the guy who made this into a thing. Like, before this, like, the lenses move, but I don't think this much. I think that's something that Larsen might have brought on. Like, I'm not sure. I just, at some point, just started looking at it, be like, wait a minute, did these things move before? I'm not sure. At least that's something that I noticed. His phases, they are very expressive, you know, but it's like, to me, it's like they don't always feel like the character necessarily. His MJ just doesn't feel like MJ to me. Phases are cute. A lot of cool hair with the women especially, which I do enjoy the hair. The hair is cool. His Peter, probably the cutest Peter Parker, like, ever. Like, Larsen draws phases with these big eyes. It's adorable. Face is cute, and then the action is super loud. It feels like a little manga-esque to me, but I don't know. I don't really read too much manga, so I don't really have much to say, but that's where I would guessing that inspiration comes from. Larsen creates the character of Cardiac, and this villain, an anti-hero, he looks very 90s. He has armor, big shoulders. Larsen also manages to sneak in another creation, Cletus Cassidy, who also has a weird face. One look and you know this is a bad dude. He doesn't do anything yet, but he'll leave his mark soon enough. There's blood, there's Punisher with a lot of guns. Larsen seems to want to do more violent and darker art, but it is something where his art, it's like I almost flip-flop on it. I kind of like how different it is, but then I turn the page and I decide, nope, and I don't like it anymore. I think Larsen has some really good storytelling. I don't think it's bad art, but it's my anti-90s bias that is kind of holding it back for me. I feel like there has to be something about his art where either he's changing the way they look or something there just doesn't always feel right. I don't know what it is, and it's kind of driving me insane. Like, it just, do I like it or not? I don't know. Mixed bag for me. Larsen's art has stuck around. His changes to Venom, for example, still is they can be seen on the character. But for me, it's overall a bit of a mixed bag. I enjoy it, but it is not my favorite era. I think Larsen's time lives and dies by its art. If it's your thing, then I'd imagine it's going to be a pretty good run. If it's not, there really isn't anything else holding it together. It's not particularly well written. The stories aren't particularly creative or new, or really they don't find anything interesting. It is just a revamp for the looks, and that's kind of it. I enjoy it for what it is, but for me, it is not one of my favorites.